Welcome to today's Trader Connect webinar. Can you guys just let me know if you can hear me? Everything's fine. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Can you see this little Trader Connect presentation? I'm just going to wait like 1 or 2 more minutes. Just giving everyone time to arrive because we're supposed to start at 12. So yeah, some people might still be on their way. Yeah, I'm assuming you can all hear me fine. Everything is good. You can see me. Sorry, someone raised hand. Okay, audio good. Someone said audio good. You can hear me. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, I guess yeah. So it's about 2 more minutes. So while we wait for more people to show up, we can just quickly go through our spiel. Yes. Yeah. So for anybody who's new, we went to the expo yesterday, so some new people might have joined us today as they read up on Rand Swiss and joining our webinars. So who are we? Well, Rand Swiss, of course. Well, let's start with our awards. In 2019, at the top here, you can see the 3 awards we got in 2019, which was for the top advice broker, the best overall stockbroker, and the People's Choice Award. And then last year, we also got awards for top online broker and top tax-free savings account provider. Hopefully, we will get some back to #1 spot this year. The awards will be, I think it's next month. If you're an existing client, you would have seen some emails coming from Rand Swiss asking you to do the survey. Yes, we're really aiming to get that top spot back again. Unfortunately, last year we dropped from 1st place to 2nd place. So it's kind of between Rand Swiss, Standard Bank, Rand Swiss, Standard Bank. So Standard Bank pipples again, but we're hoping to take that #1 spot again from them this year. Then what do we do? So Rand Swiss, we do a lot. It kind of depends on what your needs are. But let's start at the top here. We do online trading. Online trading, basically, we just give you the platform. The platform gives you access to the JSE, or if you're opening up an offshore account, it'll give you access to offshore markets like America, UK, Europe, Australia, Hong Kong, and so on. You log in, you manage the account yourself. So you decide for yourself which shares you want to buy and sell. You build your own portfolio, or if you're doing trading, you decide for yourself what stocks or forex or commodities you want to trade on a short-term basis. We just give you the platform. Private broking, very similar to online trading. We give you the platform. You kind of manage yourself, but with private broking, you can ask us for advice. So the final call still lies with you. It's you decide what you want to buy and sell. But before you buy something or before you sell something, you can chat to one of our brokers. You can ask for some research. You can ask for our input. We'll give you our opinion saying, oh, yes, maybe buy that one. Don't buy that one. We really like this stock. Or if you're already holding a stock and you're looking to sell, we'll tell you, yes, we think you should sell that stock, or no, we think no, that's still a good stock. There's some good growth in that stock. Hold on to it. Okay, so there's one attendee saying they don't have audio, and one who said they do. Yeah, so if a few of you just don't mind confirming if you have audio, it might just be the one person having some issues. But yeah, I'm just going to continue. Audio is good. Audio is good. Okay, so most people say they have audio. If you don't, well, it's not difficult to tell. Maybe it's just the audio on his side. I'm just going to type him an answer and hope. Sorry, just 1 second. Okay, yeah, so that's private broking. You still manage it yourself, but you can ask for advice as you manage it. Then we have managed portfolios, which are more of on a discretionary basis, where you're just saying, look, I don't even want to manage it. I don't have time to look at the markets. I don't have time to manage this. So you kind of just give the funds to us. You say, invest it for me. We have a global equity portfolio, which we've been running for 5+ years now. It's been done very well. It's beaten the markets across most time periods. Then we've recently also launched UK and European portfolios. So if you're looking for more specific country portfolios, we've launched the South African portfolio. Or if you don't like any of our funds, you say, look, guys, I want you to build me a bespoke portfolio. We can do that for you as well. But yeah, that's totally discretionary. You don't log in, you don't manage it. You just tell, look, guys, please just manage it for me, and we just give you statements every month, or we'll give you like a view access login, not to the trading platform, but to the admin platform where you can just like pull statements yourself and see how your investments are doing. Structured products, they're a little more complicated, but they're kind of like a mixture between bonds and options, where they give you exposure to the stock market, but they give you like protection on the downside. So usually it's about 30% downside. So if you make the investment, and then by the end of the investment, the market has fallen, but not by more than 30 or 40 or whatever percent, you get 100% of your money back. So you don't lose anything. You only lose out essentially to inflation. But then on the upside, the nice thing about them is like they can sometimes give you 2 times the growth on the upside, or they can give you the growth. They say, look, the market only has to go by 1%. And by the end of the investment, if it's only grown by 0.1%, we will give you 30 or 40 or 50% growth. So they're kind of like fixed investments, where they give you a fixed range of, oh, this is what you can expect on the upside. This is what you can expect on the downside. Offshore transfers, that's our treasury business. If you have some rands in South Africa, you're looking to send some rands out of the country, like all South Africans, you can do 1 million rand a year out of the country, or if you want to do more than that, you can apply for a tax clearance certificate and do a further 10 million. Nevertheless, you want to convert to dollars, pounds, euros, Australian dollars, whatever, and send it out of the country, we can assist you with that. Compared to the retail banks, we are between 50 and 75% cheaper. So in other words, you will get more dollars or pounds or whatever you're looking to buy via us than going to FNB or Standard Bank or Absa. Then wealth management, that's where you kind of want to sit down with one of our wealth managers, and they go through your whole financial situation. They look at your age, where are you currently invested, what's your income, what's your time horizon, and they kind of come up with a holistic investment plan for you. They do your RA, living annuities, insurance, and so on. And then tax-free savings accounts, of course, every year, 36,000 Rand a year, you can put into a tax-free savings account, and any growth on that account is tax-free. So long-term, that is a very, very powerful tool to have. If you don't already have a tax-free savings account, I would definitely recommend you open one. But yeah, I mean, the type of growth you can get over 10, 50, 20 years is quite a lot of growth, and you don't want to pay capital gains tax on that. Well, buy a tax-free savings account, you don't have to. Okay, and then just our network of partners. So today we will be looking at Velocity Trade and Saxo. These are the 2 main platforms we use. We also use Momentum and Swiss Quote, but predominantly we use these 2 platforms. So Velocity, if you're doing local trading, and then Saxo or DMA if you are opening an offshore account. But yeah, there's Swiss Quote as well. Then media, Gary, Viv, Yaku, you might have seen them on ETV, CNBC Africa, BDTV, or heard them on 702 or Classic FM and so on. But yeah, that's us. Then, okay, first things first. So the idea behind this webinar is just to kind of look at your ideas. So I'll just put it now. If you have any shares you want to have a look at, please just put it in chat. I will do my absolute best to have a look at all of the ones you guys want to have a look at. If I don't get time to look at all your trades, I apologize ahead of time, but we will be looking at both local and offshore equities. So you don't only have to put in South African stocks, you can put in offshore ones as well if you want to. And then we'll do a bit of technical analysis on them, and I'll give you my opinion. Oh, I think this looks like a buy, or this looks like a sell. But please do take note, these are not recommendations. They are only it's only my opinion, it's only my ideas. please trade using your own discretion. So yeah, just take my opinion, go look at the chart yourself, maybe find someone else's opinion if you want to, and then put it all together and then decide, okay, yes, I'm going to buy. I'm going long on this stock, or I'm going to short on this stock. So just keep in mind, by no means is this a recommendation. I'm by no means telling you, please go out, go buy this stock or sell this stock. I'm just giving you my opinion. Okay, let's analyze your trades. Let's look at some. Let's change the screen. Okay, so as I mentioned, we will be looking at Velocity Trader and Stocks of the Day. So for the South African stuff, I'm just going to be using this Velocity Trader platform. And then when we look at the offshore stuff, I'll switch to the DMA platform, the Saxo Trader, and then we'll look at that. But okay, so someone already said they want to have a look at Brent oil. Okay, so what's happening with oil? Oil had a very, very good run this year. But then as the Delta variant started to spread, oil, and it became apparent, like, look, we're stuck with this. Vaccines are good. The vaccines are very good at keeping people at the hospital, but they're not very effective at preventing people from getting the Delta variant. Economy started going to shut down again, and we saw oil begin to fall. So this is where we are currently on oil. It came down, and then it had a very good past 2 days. So yesterday and the day before, a jump in oil. So let's just see. We'll always start with a nice little support line. Support resistance. So there is a nice little, so it's $65.15 a barrel. That's thick for you guys to see. That was a nice little area. So you can see it found resistance, came back down, found support, came back up, and now it found support again at about 65. Well, let's say between 65 and 65.15. Just always remember the support and resistance lines. They are never exact numbers. They're more like a general area for you to look at. It's like there, you can see it did go below it, but then it came back up. It went below, went below. So it's more like an area than an exact number. But let's say the area between $65 to $65.50. Okay, so that's support. It did find support. Then let's see where else. There was at $70.50 resistance. So let's put another line in there. $70.50, make it a different color. Resistance, again, there you can see, was kind of support, but it wasn't an exact number. It kind of broke through, but then it came back. So yeah, just remember, these lines are never exact areas. Found support. And so this is a very pivotal point to see now what's going to happen. Will this resistance hold on Brent? And we can see it coming back down to 65. Or is this break solid? Is this a solid break? So yeah, for me, if I look at Brent at the moment, it is a bit of a wait and see moment. It's difficult to make a call here considering where it is, knowing that this is a bit of an area of resistance. Yeah, so I think I'll probably want to see another green or blue in this instance candle to make a call. Okay, yeah, no, it's a long trade. Or if we see a red one, then we can say, oh, okay, resistance holding, maybe go short on Brent. But yeah, let's see if we can put in another indicator. So a favorite indicator of a lot of people is the MACD. So what are we seeing on the MACD? So there's two things to kind of note on the MACD. So the MACD is a trend indicator. And so it's kind of like two things. If it's going down, it's telling you, oh, there's a bearish trend. And then the second thing is if it's below, so the zero line, this histogram is kind of where you know it's the zero line. If it's below zero line, that's also known as a bearish signal. So at the moment, yes, it is trending down. So that's a bearish signal, and it is below zero. So that is also a bearish signal. So it is looking bearish at the moment on the MACD. But yeah, for me, it's kind of like, I want to see what's going to happen here at this little area here. Is resistance going to hold? Because currently it does look like resistance is holding. It did break with a nice big candle, but now look, I mean, this candle has been here since about midnight today. And now it doesn't have the same momentum as it had the previous 2 days. So it does seem like it's kind of, it got to resistance and then it got a bit stuck. But yeah, like it's just a bit difficult to make a call at the moment to see what's going to happen. So yeah, I'll give it a day or two and then decide whether I would want to go long or go short. So yeah, that's my call on Brent. Okay, someone wants us to have a look at Absa. Okay, Absa. So what can we see on Absa? So I mean, immediately looking at the MACD, there is a bit of a bearish divergence. So if you can see, like Absa is higher than it was here. Let's just get an arrow. There's the arrow. So you can see it's definitely created a new high. Let's just make a color that's a bit more visible for you guys. So it's definitely made the new high, but we're not seeing the same thing happening on the MACD. If you attended last month's Trader Connect webinar, you would know we spoke about these divergences quite a lot. So yes, so it's definitely not creating new highs. So that is what's known as a bearish divergence. Now, what a bearish divergence usually means on the MACD is, or on most indicators, is that we could be seeing a change in trend. So even though currently it's in the bullish area of the MACD, it's going up, it's telling us it's a bullish trend. If there's a divergence, it's telling us, well, ooh, be on the lookout. You probably don't want to be adding to any positions if you're long. And if you're short, you might want to consider opening up that short position. We could be seeing the trend change anytime now. Now, again, this is not 100% all the time. If it was that easy, I mean, we'd all be multi-billionaires just trading these divergences. They're more like a signal, one of the signals you can have a look at. It is definitely not 100% of the time. But yeah, they tend to be fairly okay. So that is a bearish signal. I mean, if we zoom out, we can see if there's any long-term resistance there. And you can already see, yes, there is, in fact. So let's put it right there where the last traded price was. I'll just make it a little thicker so it stands out. But yeah, there is the line. So there you can kind of see this was the area of support and resistance, found support, resistance, came back down. So this is actually a very pivotal point for Absa at the moment. This is a point of resistance. Just to keep an eye out. So that is another like nice little bearish signal to keep in mind. We might in fact, so this bearish divergence might in fact play out. We might see that change in trend in Absa. The thing is, just a lot of time what you need to keep in mind with financial companies in South Africa is they're very correlated to the rand. So if you see rand strength, you see the banks go up. If you see rand weakness, you see the banks fall. Not 100% of the time, but usually. Like for instance, recently we saw the rand weaken. We saw the rand go up to, I think a few days ago it was at like 1530. And yet the banks continue to strengthen. So it's not always the case, but usually. So what could drive this back? If there's some bad news coming out on COVID, or we get some news in America that they're thinking about hiking interest rates, well, guess what? People might move to dollars, sell out their rands, and then we can see the drop. So it's kind of like what's going to be the catalyst that's going to make Absa drop at the moment. But yeah, so that's Absa. I just want to check something here. But yeah, okay. Any questions on Absa? I'll give you just a second, and then we'll move on to we'll move on to Aspen. Okay, no questions on Absa. Okay, it's fine. Then we'll move on to Aspen. So the question is, has Aspen topped out? Let's have a look. Let's just zoom in. I mean, again, there is your bearish divergence right there. And we can see Aspen has consistently been moving higher. And yet what happened? It went lower. Yes, it has been moving higher again, but it's still, considering how much higher it moved on the price chart, MACD, it's almost like exactly the same level still. So that is another nice little bearish divergence on the Aspen. Let's see. I mean, yeah, so I'm not seeing like any resistance on Aspen. So, I mean, the resistance was there. If you look at that little line and then there, so I don't see any resistance coming up. I think kind of also what hinges on is, so recently Pfizer, they got their final approval for their Aspen vaccine. So I think if Johnson & Johnson, because Aspen, they do have that contract with Johnson & Johnson with their little facility in the Eastern Cape where they bought all these vaccines. So I think if the news comes out that Johnson & Johnson will also get their final approval in America for their vaccine, that will be very good for Aspen. But yeah, unfortunately, the only thing I have to go by right now is the MACD. There's no support resistance. We can try to put on another indicator, the Ichimoku. Yeah, so same thing, Ichimoku. If you don't know what this is kind of like a little Japanese indicator. So it's telling you two things. So this cloud is kind of your leading indicator. As you can see, it goes ahead. It goes ahead by 26 periods. So it's kind of predicting some more bullishness. Let's just make this one so it's not so dark and you can see it a little bit better. There, I'll just make it white. So there you go. There's the white line. This is your short-term moving average. This is your medium-term moving average. That's also bullish as long as this one is above that one. So that's your second one. That's a bullish signal. And then this is kind of your lagging indicator. So this one is very simple. All it does is it takes your current price and then just shifts it back 26 periods. And basically what this does is if it's above wherever Aspen was 26 periods ago, that's another bullish signal. If it's moving in between, it's telling you, oh, there's no real trend. As you can see, there wasn't any real trend. And if it's below, where kind of like there, if it's below, it's telling you, oh, there's a bearish trend. But yeah, so there are three bullish signals on the Ichimoku at the moment. The cloud is definitely green. Short-term moving average is above your medium-term moving average. And your lagging indicator is above where Aspen was 26 days ago. You can always make the argument that this bearish divergence are reset because it did start going up and we're not seeing it between these three. We're not seeing a divergence. Like I said previously also, these divergences are never 100% correct. So always take it with a grain of salt. But for me, I mean, just going by this and not seeing any resistance long term, I cannot see why Aspen cannot go up any further. I mean, yeah, there's definitely a lot of room. So that's where 240, that's the next resistance. So that's about another 50 Rand away from where it's now, where you find the next resistance. I mean, I doubt it's just going to go up to 240 in a straight line. There will probably be a bit of a correction somewhere along the lines. But yeah, at the moment, I can't see anything from a technical analysis point of view why Aspen will come down or why Aspen will stop going up. Okay, any questions on Aspen? Okay, someone said Naspers. I'm sure everyone's very interested in Naspers. Naspers has been having quite a difficult time of it lately. Because, I mean, just for people who don't know, Naspers, of course, gets most of its revenue, most of its capital growth from Tencent in China. And there has, of course, been a crackdown on Chinese tech stocks. It started with Alibaba like a long time ago, I think about last year, when Jack Ma, who's the CEO or owner of Alibaba, criticized Chinese regulators. China, of course, the Chinese government, they're very like, oh, we're all powerful. Nobody questions our authority. So they cracked down on Alibaba, and then they spread across the tech sector in China. And then more recently, there was some criticism about gaming, internet gaming. I think they refer to it as the opium of the soul. And Tencent, of course, is a big gaming company. So once again, that hurt Tencent, and by virtue of Tencent being hurt, Naspers was hurt. Well, Naspers and Process. So yes, Naspers has not been having a good year of it. Very, very difficult time going back to there. You can see it when it goes back to like March, where it started going down, down, down. But okay, so that's the fundamental story. Let's look at the technical. So same thing. Let's stick with the Ichimoku clearly. So you can see red cloud. I think one thing I do need to note though is the thicker the cloud, the more bearish it is. And as you can see, the cloud is starting to become very thin. So that could be a bullish signal. Like the bearish trend is kind of like losing its momentum. But yeah, so that's bearish. What do we see? There was a bit of a bearish divergence on Naspers. You can see Naspers from here. Let's put our arrow. So starting about there, Naspers was trending down. So Naspers was trending down, but we can see the MACD at the same time was trending up. So that was a bullish divergence. But now, with this big fall, it's kind of been reset. So that divergence is not really there anymore. So that is bearish. Let's see. There's not really, I'd say support was, oh, well, look at that, support. Naspers is kind of at support. If you go, make it thick, white, so you can see it. So there, it kind of support, and then it bounced up. And that's exactly where Naspers is at this moment. Right here at support. Okay, so there is support. That is at least a bullish signal. So far, two bullish signals, one bearish. The bearish one is there's no longer divergence there. Bullish, there's a like nice support there, and this cloud is beginning to thin out. We saw it there, same thing there. Your short-term and medium-term moving averages, they got very close to each other, and the short-term actually went above the medium-term. So that's also kind of bullish. So yeah, but I mean, it's just that you kind of have to be it's very heavily dependent on what happens in China if you want to go long on Naspers. I mean, is the government going to let up? Are they going to finally say, okay, everyone learned their lesson? And also a lot of reputational damage has been done to China because there was a lot of foreign investors, especially if you look at Didi. Didi listed in America, and then the next week, Chinese regulators came down on it, and then Didi value just plummeted. So I think a lot of foreign investors have now lost faith in China. They're too scared to invest in China because they saw, oh, well, look, you say one bad word, and then the Chinese government comes down on you, the whole stock crashes. So eventually China needs foreign investors. I mean, they can pretend that they don't, but they do need foreign investors. So eventually China will have to bring this to an end. They'll have to draw a line and say, okay, everyone learned a lesson. Let's stop this. They've done a lot of reputational damage to themselves. So yeah, it's going to take, that's the thing, that it is going to take a lot of effort on their side to rebuild that trust amongst foreign investors. So yeah, like it can't keep going on like this. Eventually they need to stop. And yeah, so the question is when this happens. If that happens, you can definitely look at going long on Naspers. If you are looking to go long now, though, I mean, this looks like it could be a good area right here at 2,400 about, because this is a nice area of support. Okay, yeah, so sorry I said process. I am not going to do process mode because process and Naspers are about the same. So whatever I just said on Naspers, you can take that for process as well. It's pretty much the same. Yeah, sorry. So I'm just trying to get to everyone's stocks. Someone said PFE. I'm not sure. Oh, Pfizer probably is probably not this stock. Okay. Okay. We'll do one more South African stock, maybe two more, and then we'll move on to the offshore one. So Northern Platinum. Okay, so Northern Platinum, what are we seeing here? So Northern, just by the get-go, was right there, was your support / resistance. Put the line, where shall we put it? It's about there-ish again. Let's see there, yeah, so about 210, 214, 215. Let's take it down, yeah. So let's say between 210, 215, that's where it was. So there, resistance, 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 broke it, support, support, and now it broke through that support. So that is not, that is a bearish signal. Same thing here on the MACD. What are we seeing? It's trending down and it is below zero. So that's another bearish signal. Your short term red green. So it did go green for a bit. That was good. But as you can see, it's starting to widen. That cloud is starting to widen. So that is also a bearish signal for Northern Platinum. So that is bearish. Same thing here, it's definitely below. So that's also, there we can see us moving in between Northern. They were like kind of deciding what direction to go. But now that it has dropped below support, we can see this line, the lagging indicator is definitely below where price was 26 days ago. Bearish signal. So yeah, that Northern is looking pretty bearish at the moment. Okay, any questions on Northern? Okay, not Northern. Then the last South African one we'll have a look at is Avenge. So the construction company. With AEG, there it is. Okay, Aveng, yeah, this is a bit of a difficult one. So yeah, people having, it's not very liquid, I would say, Aveng or Avenge. And as you can see, like all it does here. So what does it do? So some people buy 3 cents, sell 4 cents, buy 3 cents, sell 4 cents. So it's just been moving up and down, not even pointless looking at the Ichimoku indicator. So 1 cent, 1 cent, and then finally it broke above 1 cent, 1 cent, 1 cent, broke above 1 cent, 1 cent. It did manage, but now it's back. So now you can ask, well, okay, is this the new range? 67, 67, 67, or is it going down? So yeah, I mean, it's a bit difficult to do technical analysis on a chart like this when there's not really much happening. But okay, I mean, we can try, I guess. But it's just like, if you look at a chart like this, the data is very muddied. I mean, if that's the way to put it, it's very difficult to do technical analysis on charts like these. I think it might even be considered going rather a longer view. So let's change to weekly. Yeah, still, you see, because it's been trading this tiny little range, again, it's very difficult to really do any analysis on that. So let's go back to daily. But yeah, so sorry, I mean, I could try, but it's very difficult to analyze this. It's just I think it's very illiquid at the moment, and it's just constantly trading in 1 cent range, 1 cent, 1 cent, 1 cent. Maybe it goes up and then 1 cent, 1 cent, 1 cent. What we can say though is clearly it's definitely trending up. So I mean that at least is bullish. That's a bullish signal. Avenge is definitely busy trading up. And I think a lot of that has to do with hope, like they're hoping the government will be doing a lot of infrastructure spending, especially after COVID. I don't know if you guys saw yesterday, our employment rate drop went to 34%. We now officially have the highest unemployment rate in the world. That's not good. So maybe people are hoping the government to try and employ people that will start investing in infrastructure, roads, railways, bridges, those kind of things. And then naturally a company like Avenge will benefit from those contracts. So it is trending up, but I mean, yeah, it's very difficult to do technical analysis on something like this. Like it's just the water is a bit muddied. Okay. So far there is three offshore stocks. So since there's only 3 offshore stocks, I'll stick with South Africa at the moment. But if you have any offshore stocks, please just put it in the chat. So I'll get to it once we go to offshore. But okay, now since there's only 3 offshore ones people want to have a look at, I'll stick with South Africa for now. Okay, Shoprite. So what's happening with Shoprite? Shoprite doing very well. Let's see what's happening there. I mean, okay, let's zoom in and start with the basics. There's your divergence right there. Compare that to that. Clearly move much higher, but on the MACD it is a little bit lower. So that is a bit of a bearish signal. So that's, yeah, just keep that in mind. Let's see if there's support. Yeah, it seems like right there. So where is that? That is about at, okay, let's go back even further, at about 180. There you can see support, broke down, resistance. So that is a very important and pivotal part for Shoprite at the moment. So it is bad. It looks at the moment not looking good because it got to that resistance and now look what's happening. Boom, red candle. But it is too soon to talk though. Don't just think just because there's one red candle that means the tide will turn. Probably give it a day or two, see what happens. But looking at it at this moment, it does look like there might be a bit of a correction on Shoprite. If there's a correction on Shoprite, you can go short. This is definitely, if you can risk it. You can say, look, I'm risking it. I'm not going to wait because maybe if you wait, Shoprite drops to here and the next thing you're going in at 165 or 170 to 175 when you could have gotten in at 179. But if you do go short, where do you put your take profit? I will put my take profit at about this area right here, which was support. So there's a good 30 Rand in there, which means you don't actually have to be all that risky. But actually be careful. It can actually find support right there, which it did do before. So that's 160. So then we're talking only about 20 Rand. So yeah, it's up to you. I mean, if you want to be super risky, say, look, I'm just going to go short, aim to take profit either at 160 or at 150. Or you could say, I am going to wait. But then the risk, of course, is you wait, you might miss out on a lot of the move. You might only get in at 175. So you missed out on about 5 Rands worth of profits. It's entirely up to you. But the other flip side, of course, is if you go now, you could be wrong. And Shoprite can break through this, and then you are out. You lose money. So there's always kind of like that opportunity cost when opening a trade. You can miss out on the growth, but you can also then risk losing. Or you can wait for the confirmation that it's coming down. Fine, you give up, but then you can have more certainty that it will actually drop. Okay. Then Kumba, someone wants to have a look at Kumba Iron Ore. Okay, so Kumba, big drop. Resources did start the year out very well. Naturally, as the Delta variant started to spread throughout the world, and there were fears about, oh, factories are going to close again, economies are going to close again, resources started dropping. So what do we see on Kumba? No real divergence on Kumba. So that is in fact bearish. There's a big drop. Let's see. So what's the range? So yeah, it's kind of like there. It did drop below resistance right there. So there it was. Okay, so it drops, so now it's coming. So this is what can be referred to by a lot of people as the kiss goodbye. So what happens usually, or not usually, sometimes when a stock breaks through support or breaks through resistance, what you see happen is it breaks through, then it comes back and it just tests it. And then it stops. It continues to fall. So that is known as the kiss goodbye. So the question is that what it is? Or is just as a false breakout? That it false break of resistance and now it's going back up again. So once again, we're in a situation of, well, wait and see what's going to happen. A lot of stocks we're looking at today are in these wait and see positions where it's difficult to say, this looks like a buy, this looks like a sell, because they're all at these very pivotal points. But if I had to choose, I would probably say looks like a short. Of course, like giving me a bearish signal. It did break through it, and this is probably that kiss goodbye that I referred to. So yeah, I would say this probably looks like a short to me. With a possible, if you're looking to go short, there's quite a fall. It probably won't go down there. I'd say probably closer to your 580. If you do go short, or you can take a look, yeah, let's say about here. 580 is where you can look to take profit. So that's a good 60 rands that you can take there. But again, what's the opportunity cost? You could be wrong. This could be just a false breakout. The next thing you know, it shoots back up again. So you can wait for confirmation. You can wait for another red candle for your confirmation, but then who knows what you give up. You can be giving up 10 rand, 20 rand move, but that's the decision you have to make. Okay. Then I believe that is the last South African one people wanted to have a look at. Okay, then we will move to the offshore one. Okay, let me just switch the view for you. Okay, so this is the DMA platform. If you open an offshore account with Rand Swiss, you will either get DMA or Swiss quote, dependent on your needs and what you're looking to do. But I would say probably 80% of our offshore clients are on DMA just because it has a lower minimum to open an account. So if you want a DMA account, it's about minimum $10,000. Whereas if you want to go with Swiss quote, it's usually about minimum 1 million rand to open that account. Of course, the benefit of that Swiss quote account is it's an actual Swiss bank account in your name. So if you open that account, you get a unique IBAN number just for you. You can get a bank card. You can store cash in there. You can go around the world and swipe that bank card. So yeah, that's the benefit of Swiss quote, but of course it has a higher minimum requirement to open the account. Okay, the first one you guys wanted to have a look at is BNTX. It's not really one I know. Oh, BioNtech. Okay, of course you get CFDs, equities. So either way, they will be the same. So BioNtech, I'm not even sure how you say it. They are the guys who worked with Pfizer on the vaccine. So what do we see here? So we always start with our support and resistance. So where do we think? So that's where support is, and then resistance. So it seems to me like at the moment, the stock is in kind of stuck in the range, like bouncing between 388 and 330, just up and down, up and down, up and down. And it looks to be like currently it's in the downward cycle. So yeah, it's but yeah, if you wanted to go short, you probably wanted to go short above 380. You probably already missed the move. I mean, there's still a lot left. If it does in fact go back to support, there's like a good $38 move left in the stock. But yeah, again, this comes back to like how risky do you want it to be? If you want it to be risky, you would have gone short the moment it hit this area. The moment it got about 380, you would have gone short. And this time around, it would actually have worked out for you because already you would have made like a good, dependent where you go. If you did here at the top, so let's say 385, it's already like almost $20 move for you. If you waited for it, you would probably have waited around here or here, just for that confirmation, like, oh, okay, no, it looks like it's dropping. So that if you wanted to play it safe, you're the guy that don't take the risk, you're the guy that waits for the confirmation, then yeah, now is probably the time to do it. But it does seem like there's some, like within this channel, there's another level, kind of like important level. Let's just do that. So right there. So within this channel, there's another channel, kind of support, 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 resistance, resistance. So broke. So actually, yes, there's another nice confirmation. Like, look, you can look to go short. It broke that support as well. Got up there, and look what happened. Red candle. So you can, maybe there's another nice little short trade there. If you missed out there, you can still enter here, and there's still, I mean, a good $38 in it. So it's not like it's not going to be worth your while. Let's put on MACD. What's the MACD telling us? Not really anything. I mean, I'm not really seeing divergences. There was a divergence there, but it already moved up. So it was expected to see a divergence right there. Same level, but higher level. But it's expected. There was support. It went back up. So it did as expected this time around. Hit resistance, came back down. Yeah. But yeah, that's all I'm seeing on that one. Okay. Any questions on BioNtech? Then we'll move on. I think someone said Pfizer. I believe it was Pfizer. Yes, Pfizer. Pfizer. Nice. You can see it just already by looking at that line. It is at support. Came back, fall, and now you can see it's losing steam. As soon as it's getting to support, it's losing steam. So look to buy. The only thing that's a bit worrisome is there is a bearish divergence. So the same level, but it is going lower. So that is a bearish divergence. That is something you should keep in mind before you go long. I'm going to remind you, as always, these divergences aren't 100%. So don't think just because there's a divergence, it's now going to break through. What you can probably do is, if you want to play it safe, is wait for a nice big green candle and say, okay, I'm going long. Otherwise, you're the risky guy. By all means, go long. Where do you put your take profit? Take profit, you can either put it there where it previously dropped, or you can put it there. So if you go long now, there's about $1.50 in it. No, I'm lying, sorry. $1.50, $2.20. If you want to go that one, there's about an extra $1.10 in it for you. If you wait for the big candle, you probably want to go for that take profit though, because there's more of a move there. But yeah, it's definitely at support. There is a divergence, so please just take note the divergence is there. Don't forget to keep that in mind. But that is support. We can put in, let's just for argument's sake, let's put in the Ichimoku. Okay, so there's another bearish signal. Look, the cloud is gone red. I don't know why they use this color. Let's see if we can change that color for you. There you go. Okay, green. So there you see. So that is another bearish signal. It's broken below that cloud. So what? Yeah, that's one thing you should also take note with regards to the Ichimoku. These clouds tend to be areas of support and resistance. So if it's broken below this cloud, well, this tells us it has broken below resistance. The cloud, let's make it a bit more red also. This is more parrot. It has twist. They're still thin, so it can very easily go back green. So just take note of that. Don't think just because it's red, the tide has now turned. I mean, it's still a thin little red cloud. Very easily, very quickly can go back to green. But yeah, that is another kind of like bearish signal. There's your lagging indicator below where price was. I mean, but it is below. So that is also a bearish signal. So yeah, just something to keep in mind on Pfizer. Okay, Oz USD. With Oz USD, I'm assuming you're meaning AUD USD. So Australian dollar, US dollar. I mean, it's looking pretty bullish. So the second currency is your quoting currency. So of course it's 72 US cents for 1 Australian dollar. If this is going up, this means the Australian dollar is strengthening versus the US dollar. Now that's to expect it. We're seeing the same thing with South Africa. Today, it dropped below 15 Rand to the dollar again. And you'll see there is kind of a correlation also between the South African Rand and Australian dollar, because Australia and South Africa are both countries with very big resource sectors. So that's why a lot of the time, if you see the Australian dollar strengthen, you will also kind of see the Rand strengthen. Not entirely always, because I mean, at the end of the day, Australia is a bit more of a stable first world country compared to South Africa, but it is to keep in mind. But nevertheless, I'm not surprised to be seeing that the Australian dollar is strengthening, even because South Africa as well. But yeah, I mean, definitely bullish cloud there. Lagging indicator is above, so that is bullish. Though take note, look at the gap there. What used to be versus the gap there is, so the gap is definitely narrowing. Same thing with your short-term indicator. It used to be a bigger gap between these two moving averages. Now they're very thin. And then, of course, what do we see there? Bearish divergence. So let's put an arrow. So starting about here, it went up. And then I'll put another arrow. Then it went flat. What did we see there? When it was going up, it went flat. Now that it's going flat, it is going down. So that's another bearish signal. We might see the Australian dollar begin to weaken against dollar, but that, see, again, it's kind of, you have to keep in mind, you have to look at what's dollar and what's happening in the world in general. The US dollar, even though, well, let's also say this, even though the Australia is more of a first world country than South Africa, their currency is still seen as an emerging market currency. So in periods where people are being a little bit defensive, they tend to move towards safe haven currencies. That means the more first world currencies like the US dollar, the Swiss franc, the Japanese yen. So yeah, you have to kind of keep a look on world economy. People are becoming more and more defensive. They look at markets and think, oh, markets are running too high. We think the market's too hot. The market is expensive. A lot of people are expecting a market crash. I mean, they've been expecting it all year, and yet the market's keeping up. So don't think just because many people think there's a market crash, there will actually be one. But as that happens, people become more defensive. So they move into more safer currencies like the US dollar and away from South African Rand, away from the Australian dollar. Whether that's going to happen or not, it does look like there might be a bit of a correction on the AUD USD. So maybe you can look at support here. So maybe down to, yeah, about 72 cents 25, which is not a major move, but there might be something, or all the way down here to like about 71, 75. But that's what I'm seeing on the AUD at the moment. Yes, it was bullish. There's a nice big thick bullish cloud, red-green cloud. But we see this gap has narrowed. The gap between these moving averages is narrowed. There's a divergence there. So it does seem like it's beginning to lose a bit of steam. So yeah, that's just something to keep in mind before you go long. Okay. But yeah, okay. I mean, that's all of it. I think it seems like I've worked through all of your stocks, all the ones you wanted to have a look at. Well, there's about 5 minutes left, so it's not going to say. Let's have a while look at one more. Let's look at our USDs are. So our own one. So I mean that's a good sign for us South Africans. If you're looking to take money out of the country, that is bearish. In this instance, a bearish one means the rand strengthens again against the pound. So yeah, so this is hourly. So well, let's actually change this to daily. Sorry. So daily, okay, daily. If we look at the daily chart, it's a different story, isn't it? That is bullish. That's indicating, or well, kind of predicting, going into the future, the rand will weaken against the dollar. So maybe not so good. If you're looking to take out money, maybe now would be a good time to consider doing it. At least this is looking good. It is coming down. This is coming down. So that's good. There is a bit of a divergence there. So as we can see, the rand weakened. But yeah, same level on MACD. That's nice. That's a nice bearish divergence. I personally think the rand's going back to about 1460, 1470, 1460. Yeah, so it's about here. It's in line. So there, a little below this line here. So that's another thing about the Ichimoku. Just like these clouds are your support and resistance, a lot of time these lines are also your area of support and resistance. Just like you see there, it got up to this line and then it's just stuck to this line. It kept on finding resistance in the short-term moving average. So maybe it finds support here. So yeah, 1475, 1470. But I personally think the rand will be coming down to about 1460. So if you're looking to take money out of country, I'll say keep your eye on about that level on 1460. Once it hits 1460, by all means, call us up. Like I said, we do help people send money out of the country. We charge much less than your bank charges you. So if you're looking to buy dollars, pounds, whatever, you will get more on the other side by doing it through us compared to your bank. But yeah, I would say keep your eye on 1460. That's the level I would look at. But okay, I think that will be that for today. Thank you for joining this webinar. I mean, by all means, if you have any questions, please send me an email, call us up. I'm glad to help. But yeah, that's the webinar for today. We do this every month. So I think next month is about 22 September is our next webinar, next Trader Connect webinar. We do have other webinars. If you want to know what other webinars Rand Swiss has, all you have to go is just go to randswiss.com. Then on our website, you'll see there at the top events. And then there's a full list of all of our webinars. So the next webinar is the monthly review with Gary Boysen. So like this webinar is more about technical analysis. Yes, I share some fundamental views, mostly technical analysis. If you want to have more of a fundamental discussion about the global economy, by all means, join this webinar, have a chat with Gary. But yeah, here's our full list of webinars, and the next Trader Connect is on 22 September. But yeah, I'll see you guys then.